Hello and welcome to the second part of this series in which I will be addressing the topic of transitional forms within languages. Now, I was going to post an audio skit from Ben Stein's movie Expelled, in which an interviewee makes a rather odd claim, but because of potential legal issues, we'll just have to settle for the quote. Ignoring for a moment that Hitler was a psychopath, not a scientist, and that even if Darwin might have been a racist, misogynist ass, this would have had no impact on the veracity of evolution, it did take me a while to understand what this guy is getting at. Apparently he wants English speakers to learn German such that they can read Hitler's tract and come to the fallible conclusion that evolution has something to do with eugenics or such like. But of course, when fundamentalists talk about people getting educated, they don't posit this as a serious suggestion. They don't want you as an English speaker to learn German, find out the two are connected, and then somehow make an analogy between language and biological evolution. The fact that English and German are related can best be demonstrated by the fact that certain words in English also appear in the somewhat same form and meaning as they do in German. For example, hinder, pot, oh no, not that one, this one, and water, although in German it's primarily found in the dialects Plattdeutsch and Frisian. So, if the two are related, this means they must have had a common ancestor in the past. As I've explained in part 1, we've already found one. It's Anglo-Saxon. To better understand this, let's look at a text example.
And of course, we're going to go to the Bible.
No, not quite. Or at least not now. But we are going to stay in the realm of religious literature. This is the Lord's Prayer in West Saxon. It's close enough to Anglo-Saxon, such that we can use it in this video. Now, I don't speak Anglo-Saxon, so I'm not going to read it out loud. There are a number of videos on that. Just type in Faeder in the search tab. As you've noticed, I've highlighted some of the words which resemble words in modern English and German. We also notice that some words haven't changed a bit, or only slightly, whereas others have changed very drastically in the last 1500 years. This morphology down to the letter level will be the subject of the third part of this series. Ah, the scoffers and critics have appeared. And of course they're protesting that deliberately picking a text on the German Wikipedia entry for Old English, and then cherry-picking words that suit my agenda doesn't qualify as absolute proof. And they're right, it doesn't. So, I took 3 hours in searching through the Anglo-Saxon Dictionary at the Ome Dictionary, which was my main vocabulary source for this video, to spot any other potential ancestors, basal to both English and German. Hence I ended up with these 126 words, which, I believe, proves my transitional hypothesis beyond any doubt. Again, it should be noted that these words aren't transitional due to their spelling alone, but also their pronunciation. Again, this is a topic for the next video.
Those missing links, those transitional forms, those in-between stages, are still missing.
What? You mean like Middle English? Oh, alright. I was being unfair to Kirk Cameron. because American and Canadian English sounds nothing like the Middle English of the 1500s, or that of the Pilgrims for that matter. In fact, American and Canadian English are the transitions between 16th century Middle English and modern British English. This is what 16th century English sounds like.
When that April, with his showres sorter, the drocht of March hath persed to the rota, and bathed every vine in switch liqueur, of which vertue engendred is the flour. When Zephyrus, eke with his sweeter breath, inspired hath in every holt and heath the tendre croppes, and the younge sonne hath in the ram his halve course runne. And smalle fooles maken melodie, that slepen al de nicht with open eie. So prikketh hem natuur in hier courages. Then lungen volk to gaan on pilgrimages, and palmers for to seken stranger stundes to ferne halwes, couth in sundre lundes. And specially from every sheeries ender of England to Canterbury thy wender, the holy blissful martyr for to seke, that him hath holpen one that thy was seke.
Given this observation, Shaker Kapoor and Kate Blanchett would each get a golden raspberry as well as an F from me for butchering the two Elizabeth movies by speaking modern instead of Middle English. You know, the type of English that wouldn't appear like 250 years after the historical setting of the films. But I'm not out to ruin every medieval movie, so Kevin Costner would get at least a C-, as would David Franzoni, the screenplay writer for King Arthur, for historical inaccuracy, as the film forgets to mention that Schweiger and the Saxons had been there to stay. And while we're on the subject, Cameron and his screenplay writer would both get expelled, as Monet's Water Lilies didn't exist until 10 years after Titanic went down. But I grossly digress. Anyway, to wrap up this part of the series, I thought it was time for some comical relief, proving that creationism is a cult, as well as blind sheep-like following, using Anglo-Saxon. By browsing through the Anglo-Saxon Dictionary, I actually found the word for sect, which is afterfolgung. This is the noun of the verb afterfolgian, meaning, of course, to follow. Its personification is therefore afterfolgere. All of these words consist of two parts: the preposition after, which means after and hasn't changed much in 1,500 years, and the word folgian, which is related to the German word folgen, which means to follow. So, an afterfolgerer or afterfolgeres is someone who follows something or follows after someone, i.e., who stands behind something or someone. And in a very wide sense, this is exactly what creationism and/or creationist apologetics is: upholding and defending a preconceived notion, blindly following it and the people who promote it, and never change your positions even if you're proven wrong. And just to put this all into perspective, this term was used 500 years before the beginning of the Christianization of Northern Europe, and about 2,000 years before the arrival of creationism as we know it today. Yeah, that's right, Pendleton. Your creationist ass just got served by Ethelfrith. Well, this was the second part of the series. If you've seen part 1, please stick around for part 3, in which I'll be addressing the subject of morphology within languages, as well as the possibility of punctuated equilibrium.